All right, so just going to recap the trade I took today. We ended up breaking even. Um, I would like to mention that I did miss a trade yesterday. It was a solid trade. Um, I just failed to take it because I kind of logged off the chart at this point. It was later in the session, 11:10. Um, but this is my scalp model presenting itself. Would have been a nice solid trade with literally, well, we had drawdown, I guess, to begin with. That first candle looking pretty hairy, and then, but after that, we just drop. So that would have been a solid trade. But anyway, today's trade, break even. The reason I like this trade was because the draw on liquidity seemed to me to be very obvious. Um, we had this 4-hour unfilled fair value gap. And inside that 4-hour unfilled fair value gap, we had a 1-hour unfilled fair value gap. Um, if we go to the 1 hour, you'll see that. Okay, on top of this, what else do we have? On the 15-minute, Asian session high wasn't taken yet when I got into this trade. We had just barely not taken it. And on top of that, well, initially, if I had gotten an entry down here, which I didn't, this trendline liquidity looked really good. But the draw really became the 4-hour and the 1 hour because the trendline liquidity was already kind of taken by the time I entered. So really the 4-hour was something I thought there's no way we don't come into, trade into. So I was very confident about that. And I'm not surprised by the delivery being poor, right? Draw ended up getting hit, but the delivery was poor. Why was the delivery poor? Well, look at the entry, right? This is the inversion fair value gap that I entered from once we closed above it. Well, right, we had a nice push higher off the EMA, and then we tapped into the EMA. Ideally, in an ideal world, we continue higher from this candle, this bounce, and inverse this, and I get it like a quick retracement. But we got this choppy retracement where we stayed and we kept chopping around, and we eventually inverse this. And we respected the EMA, so, and I, obviously the draw liquidity to me was very obvious, so I said, that's fine, I'll enter. So I entered here once we inversed, even though it was very choppy to get to the inverse. And as a result, I'm not surprised by this choppiness once I was in the trade. And we eventually delivered to our 4-hour fair value gap, which was my break-even point. And then we fell shortly after and hit my break-even. That was a trade. I got into this very understanding of the fact that I would probably break even. Um, my entry was fairly close to the break even. It didn't look like we were delivering all that great, so I didn't think we were just going to push past it. I was hoping to get lucky and for that to happen, but I was very certain that my first draw would get hit, that I was okay with taking the risk of entering just in case we can get that follow through, but we did not. And that was the setup.